Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David, and this episode is for UFC 293 Adesanya v Strickland. I can't even contain how happy I am. It's just a beautiful moment. You know, when Strickland was crying, I was just so happy for him. I've never felt, I don't want to say I've never felt this way before, but it's just a beautiful moment. You see it from time to time in MMA, right? You see dominant champions. We see dominant champions, and it's cool to see dominant champions go off into the sunset or retire or they have their last fight. In this case, it's just something that it reminds me of something recently where Dricus versus Whitaker happened, and everyone was saying Whitaker by whatever. Whitaker by toilet seat, right? That was the meme. Whitaker by flying armbar in space. And then the impossible happened where Dricus basically just beats him. He finishes him. And then we're looking this way where, you know, it wouldn't be a bad bet if you put your house on this fight. I mean, obviously, it would be a bad bet now, but it's Adesanya by whatever. And it turns out that not only is Strickland's defense that, it's the apex that jades us. It's the shitty apex. Kevin Lee was right. Get fights out of the apex. It's fucking gross. But his defense, Strickland's defense is so good that Adesanya couldn't do anything. And while I think there's a little more to this, given the fact that Adesanya may be a little too active, it just so happens that he didn't have the answer to Sean Strickland. And you know what's even better about this is, I forgot what round it was. I think maybe the start of round 3, where Nick Sick is telling him, hey, you need to fucking grapple now. We don't need this goofy shit where we're just going to point fight. He still didn't grapple. He still didn't shoot. It's insane. He still didn't shoot. It was one of the crazy, it's just mind-boggling to me that this happened. Because if we're just going to be honest, this was supposed to be like a tune-up fight. This was just supposed to be a routine fight for Adesanya where, yeah, we're going to Sydney, which is basically next to New Zealand. We need you to fight here. We need a person. Dricus isn't ready. Boom, here's Sean Strickland, who's just supposed to job out for us. No, he goes in there and he wins. And now we're in a new conundrum where basically we might get a rematch, but we've seen this too many times. I don't think there'll probably be a rematch. It's going to be it should be Strickland versus Dricus, but for some weird reason, everyone keeps adding in the Costa fight, which is a month away. Costa versus Chimaev. Chimaev's been absent forever. Costa's been absent forever. Why the fuck would the winner of that fight Strickland? That just doesn't even make sense. I don't care if Costa knocks out Chimaev. I don't care if Chimaev submits Costa. Dricus is next in line. It's Dricus versus Strickland, probably in Vegas. That's my 2 cents. But it just, the night ended it ended really beautifully. A really good ending to a pay-per-view. A really nice, beautiful ending to a pay-per-view, just like the last pay-per-view. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. Let's get to the serious parts. Judging was weird tonight, but it wasn't too weird. It wasn't that bad, but it was a little tough. Overall, it was a great card. Really nice card. The theme of this card, if there was an alternative name for this headline, it would be, the regular theme would be UFC 293, Adesanya versus Strickland. Or it would be UFC 293, faggot. I don't know what is going on in Australia. I don't know what's going on in Australia, but that either Aussies used the word faggot a lot, or it was just in vogue today, where fighters were just like, you fans are a bunch of faggots. That seems to be the vibe. Australians are dickheads was the vibe, and they were just like, you know what, you guys are a bunch of faggots, and that seems to be what crossed over. Faggot was the main thing, and from two fighters who won their fights, by the way. So it's hilarious. It set the tone. Who knew that the word faggot would set the tone? It's so great. Would set the tone for the night ending so beautifully. And what's even more crazy is the crowd in unison just being happy for Sean Strickland. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible. But let's get to the meat and potatoes. Okay, let's get to the main shit. We have an honorable mention. I'm sure whoever's listening, you know what the honorable mention. We have an injustice. Excuse me. We have a robbery. We have a routine robbery, is what I call it. Mullarkey versus Mcdessie. Now, before I even start into this fight, I want to acknowledge that I think Mcdessie should have been given the victory against Hackparast. That might be an unpopular opinion, but go back. I explained it in whatever video that was. I forgot the card that was under. It might have been an Abu Dhabi card. I'm not sure. Mullarkey, obviously, many people believe he robbed Michael Johnson. I don't agree with that. I think that was kind of a close fight. That's whatever. Let's focus on this fight. Mullarkey versus Mcdessie. I had this 29-28 for Mcdessie. First round goes to Mullarkey. Last two rounds I gave to Mcdessie. In that very first round, Mullarkey's outstriking Mcdessie. That's pretty clear. Mcdessie starts to land a couple shots at the end, and the tally kind of gets a little shorter, but still Mullarkey outstrikes Mcdessie enough to where it's his round. You go to the second round where Mullarkey outstrikes Mcdessie, but he gets dropped at the end of the round. And it's kind of weird because there's a lot of drops. Not a lot, but there was a lot of drops that looked kind of weird and random, and people's footing was off. So it just, there's that. But still, he got dropped. As soon as he got dropped, he starts backing up, kind of shelling up, loses the round. Then we go to the third round where they're pretty much even for like 3-4 minutes. 3-4 minutes, they're pretty even. They're just kind of trading back and forth. They're landing back and forth periodically. And then that last minute, Mcdessie just over and over and over continues to outstrike Mullarkey. Like shots that are unanswered. By Mcdessie. Mcdessie is outstriking Mullarkey at the end of that third round. And Mullarkey has no answer for Mcdessie, and he outstrikes him. And it's a 29-28. This is pretty routine. It's pretty simple. It all comes down to that third round. Pretty simple. And we go to the scorecards where they fuck it. They fuck it badly. And looking at it, it's all over the place. We have Mark Christie, who gives the first round to Mullarkey, second round to Mcdessie, and then he gives the third round to Mullarkey. Insane. Stupid. I already said it's a robbery. You then go to Eric Colon, who gives the last round to Mcdessie, but then gives the second round to Mullarkey. Now, this is what's funny about this. I would give bail, but here's the problem. Mullarkey's outstriking Mcdessie, not by a lot, but he's outstriking Mcdessie in that second round. He gets dropped at the end of the round. He gets dropped. Boom, it's not his round anymore. Real stupid. And then David Lethaby, his scorecard reflects Mark Christie. Just bad on this card. and Mcdessie got robbed. So I think he got robbed twice, but it doesn't fucking matter. We go to the next honorable mention, or we go to our first honorable mention, okay, and that is Blood Diamond versus Charles Radke, Mr. Faggot himself. He's not a faggot, but he used faggot. It's great. Dude, tonight the fight card was great from an entertainment standpoint. So yeah, Diamond versus Radke. I had this 29-27. Yeah, I had this 29-27. The first two rounds I gave to Radke. Last round I gave to Blood Diamond 10-9, but minus the point deduction in the third round. From a groin strike by Blood Diamond, it's a 9-9 round, making it 29-27. I read out the third round. Let me start with the first round. The first round, close on the feet. You give the edge to Radke. Okay, it's close. It's very close on the feet, but you give the edge to Radke because he just essentially pushes Blood Diamond to the fence and just starts landing occasional clinch strikes here and there, and that's the thing that pushes him over the edge. You go to the second round, and Radke outstrikes Blood Diamond. Then the third round, like I said before, Blood Diamond outstrikes Radke pretty much the entire round, and then he lands a groin strike that deducts him a point. The judges have it a little different. You have David Letheby. His scorecard reflects mine. Then you have Mark Collette. His scorecard reflects mine. And then Christopher Alady gives the first round to Blood Diamond. Honorable mention there. I think that's a stupid scorecard. And then gives the last two rounds. Gives the last two rounds to Radke. Second round to Radke is fine. Gives the third round to Radke. That's another honorable mention. That's fucking, the scorecard is shit. This is a shit scorecard. I'm assuming he did that just so there wasn't any just so his scorecard wasn't bad. I'm assuming that's the reason why he put a 10-9 there, just so he could even up the scorecard. But still, he put the scorecard in the wrong place. So, honorable mention there. We go to another honorable mention, and this is Hackpress versus Quinones. This fight was interesting, and I'll talk about the fight in a second. But real quick, I just finished The Ultimate Fighter. I just finished Tough, and what's really interesting about that is I was watching all the way up to the semis, and while I already knew the results, it was interesting because I'm basically watching it backwards. I already knew the results. I already knew that Brad, what the fuck is his name? What is his name? Brad Katona. I already knew Brad Katona won, and then I already knew that Haqparast won. Here's the weird bit though, is that if before they got there, it was Katona versus Teamer, and Teamer got robbed. It's insane how the editing and the thing that pisses me off the most. I think this phrase pisses me off the most. Of it was close. Teamer got robbed, and they just glazed it over with it's close. I mean, we just watched the fight, and then they did like a PR thing at the end, which was it's close. That's nonsense. Teamer got robbed. Teamer should have been fighting the other guy. Then there was a previous fight before that. I believe it was Roosevelt Roberts versus Hubbard, and Roosevelt Roberts got robbed. So it's two fights on there where they're just robberies, and we just glaze over them. So there's that. anyways, Quinones fought on The Ultimate Fighter. And while he only fought one time, it wasn't the best representation. This fight was great. Hackpress versus Quinones. I had this 29-28. I gave the first round to Quinones, and the last 2 rounds I gave to Hackpress. In the first round, I'm losing track here. Where my notes are. There we go. I found them. In the first round, Quinones outstruck Hackpress. Now, here's what's interesting about that first round. First of all, DC in this fight. There's many times in this entire card where DC's just saying, "Oh my God, this guy's winning," and I find that really annoying. You know, people accuse DC of being biased. This is the one time I'll use it. He was insanely biased this entire card. It was fucking disgusting. It was really fucking disgusting. But I believe in this round and another round, he's just saying Hackpress is winning right now. When they're kind of close on strikes in that particular moment, that he's saying that Hackpress is winning. It's nonsense. He should not be saying that. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But in this particular round, Hackpress is getting outstruck by Quinones, mostly with leg kicks. Hackpress is throwing hooks and whatever, and he's missing a lot of his shots. A lot of his shots are hitting the UFC logo on the back of Quinones' hands. And and I don't know about you, but we're not counting those as strikes. Those don't get counted as strikes. Those didn't hit the target, they hit the back of the hand. If strikes hit the back of the hand, then holy shit, I mean we'd have different UFC fighters right now. That's what I'll say. But we'd have different UFC champions right now. Right, Sandhagen would be a champion based off of the Peter Yan fight. Fucking Vittori would be champion based off of Adesanya. Like, there's so many shits you could pull up. Anyways, I was just very surprised that they just kept talking about Haqparast in this first round when Haqparast was getting outstruck clear in this first round. The strike numbers won't show it because the strike numbers are always fucking all over the place. But Quinones definitely outstruck him, Haqparast in that first round. The second round, pretty clear. Haqparast finally is landing bigger shots. He stuns him a couple times. He lands bigger shots and he's landing frequently on Quinones, and then the same thing in the third round, and that's where you get those rounds. You go to the judges' scorecards. Eric Colon, just honorable mention that he gives the first round. Let me just read it out. Evan Field, Clemens Werner, all three of them have it 30-27. I disagree with this. It's very few times I disagree with all three scorecards at the same time, but I disagree with this. Honorable mention all three. That first round should have gone to Quinones. It's crazy how he's outstriking him clear. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. It's an optics thing. I don't know. It's this fight. Granted, Hackpress won this fight, but it's this fight that the optics look weird. It's the Mcdessie fight. The optics looks weird. It's insane with this. But we move on. We go to the next honorable mention, and that's Jenkins versus Maryskul. I gave the first round to Jenkins, 10-9 in the first round. This fight ended in a TKO in the second. In that very first round, Jenkins outstruck Maryskul. That's pretty clear. The finish happens in the second, where Maryskul gets in close, gets like a judo takedown, and the right hand of Jenkins post on the canvas, and boom, his elbow pops. Something happens. I still don't know yet. I'll have to look it up, but his elbow pops, and it's just bad. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. It's squirmish. The same thing happened in the Apex, I think, a couple fights ago. I can't remember. I think it was a female fight. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that ending. That was just woo. Shit, like, you know, it's really interesting because Another thing I found interesting is DC was like, hey, no one really wants to win like that. But in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? Why don't we want to win like that? I mean, yeah, you don't want to win like that in the sense of someone got injured. But winner by injury shouldn't be frowned upon. If anything, we should look at that like a legitimate thing, because I don't want to compare the two, but I'm going to compare the two. When Rose got dropped on her head, and granted, yes, that is a knockout technically. I don't look at that as a knockout. I look at that as like you got dropped on your head, when technically you're supposed to get. Most fighters, when they get taken down, they know how to take a bump, so to speak. And maybe it was just the angle. Maybe I'm just not remembering shit right now. Winning a TKO by injury, especially an injury that you caused, not like not like an accident or something, but he caused it. I think is a good way to win as well. We go to the next honorable mention. Look at us, we're flying now. This fight really pissed me off because of just the optics, the visuals. There's so many narratives on this fight. DC was wild on this fight. I've always had this. This is the fight I'm talking about. It's Kape versus Dos Santos. Real quick on Kape, DC, and I can't remember this was the last pay-per-view that Kape fought on, and I want to say it was versus Ode Osbourne. I think it was Ode Osbourne. I keep remembering this phrase because it pissed me off, and it led me to believe that DC is like low-key politicking for Kape. So I believe it was Kape versus Ode Osbourne. And Kape fights or trains at DC's place occasionally. So him and DC are kind of cool. It seems as though, and this is getting annoying, on commentary, he makes the suggestion that, okay, they're kind of flyweight's kind of clogged up. He thinks he deserves a title shot. First of all, Kape thinks he deserves a title shot after dropping 2 of his fights, and then now having to fight lesser competition to get back into the top 5. Really, right now he's ranked number 10, and to get in there, he's trying to say that, hey, I should be in the top 5. And so DC suggests, you know what? He just beat Ode Osbourne. I think he should get a fight with Kai France. Now, he suggests that on the commentary, and at the time, now, it's not a bad shot because of how good Kape is. So, if the matchmakers made it, which they did, and then it got scrapped, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But at the time when he suggested it, it was just very stupid and gross and kind of opportunistic of him to just suggest, hey, you should just get Kai France, a dude who just fought for the interim title, a dude who fought a top 5 guy. Like, this guy's already up there. He's settled. And you're talking about a guy who's fighting Ode Osbourne, who's fighting these, Dvorak. I believe his name is Dvorak. Who's fighting these guys that he should probably fight another fight before even suggesting Kai France. But my point is that he's really, really, like, pro Kai France in it. And I feel as though I caught it, and I don't like it. Now, we go to this fight where the bias is on. And I mean it's on. Okay? DC throughout this fight is saying the thing that I hate, which is recently he's just like, Kape is winning this round. He's winning this fight. We're 2 minutes into this round, and he's saying he's winning this fight. Say that never, but say that at the end of the rounds. Don't say that middle of the rounds. And you know what's even funny about this is he's saying that while Dos Santos is landing frequently and well on Kape. Frequently and well. It's only the Strickland fight that he wants to go, hey, pull up those scorecards online because this fight is close. What are you talking? Yes. No. I mean, yes. The third round, we'll get to that, of the Strickland fight is kind of close. But Right, that's one of the rounds where she's like, oh, this is kind of razor close. Let's bring up the scorecards. It's the Kape and Dos Santos fight where Dos Santos, it's not like Dos Santos is just whiffing on all his punches. He's landing frequently and well and making it look close, and he's just like, oh, Manel Kape's winning. That's my problem with this fight. Let's start off with the fight itself. I had this 29-28 for Manel Kape. Okay, I had this 29-28 for Manel Kape. In the first round, I gave it to Dos Santos, but a close marker on the first round. If we're just being real here, Dos Santos got dropped. Right, let me read out the description. Dos Santos outstruck Kape on the feet, and Kape had some ground and pound, and he dropped Dos Santos. He dropped Dos Santos, like, I want to say in the middle of the round, and then after that, Dos Santos just went on to just continually outstrike him. This is a close round, a very close round. I maybe if we're just being real, it probably shouldn't be close. Actually, let me just be objective here. The first round probably shouldn't be close, and it should probably go to Kape because of the ground and pound. That probably the ground and pound and the drop. Though Dos Santos outstrikes him on the feet, it's not by much. No, he outstrikes him fairly well, but then Kape had the ground and pound, and he dropped Dos Santos. Yeah, the first round should go to Kape. Honorable mention on me on that part. That's a me problem. But anyways, we go to the second round. Kape outstrikes Dos Santos in the second round. In the third round is the one where it's I put a close marker on. It's definitely a close marker on the third round. Where in the third round, Kape gets a takedown with ground and pound, and Dos Santos outstrikes Kape on the feet. He outstrikes him on the feet fairly well, and even though Kape got a takedown, and he's landing ground and pound shots, Dos Santos is active down there, and he's striking from the bottom as well. This is a kind of close round, in my opinion. 29-28. You can argue a 30-20. You can argue a 30-27. For Manel Kape. Read the judges' scorecards. Eric Lund has a 30-27. David Letheby has a 29-28. The first two rounds for Manel Kape. And then Clemens Warner, his scorecard reflects David Letheby. There you have it. Faggot was another word that was brought up during this. Manel Kape caught the bug as well. So there's that. Next and last honorable mention. Adesanya versus Strickland. I had this 48-47. Okay, 48-47. First round, pretty much it's headed towards a, they're kind of, it's headed towards a, Adesanya is going to probably take this round, and then out of nowhere, Strickland, Strickland right hand flush drops Adesanya, lands a bunch of strikes on him. A lot of them were hitting the hand of Adesanya. And in that moment, for a second, the camera was kind of close to the action, and you could see Adesanya just put a thumbs up to Goddard and was like, hey, I'm good. Do not fucking stop this fight. That was very interesting. You go to the second round, where Adesanya basically does the thing he did to Cannonier, which was leg strikes from range. Strickland didn't strike enough. Barely struck at all. Barely threw anything at all, actually. And Adesanya wins this round, the second round. And then you go to the third round, which it kind of irked me when I heard this on the commentary. They were making a case. Now, Adesanya outstruck Strickland in this third round. That's clear. That's evident. The problem, though, is that they were then making the argument that the very few shots that Strickland did land on Adesanya could arguably give him the win. They're really focusing. They're still continuously focusing on the damage thing. When I don't believe they're quoting the criteria very wrong in that sense. But back to this point. Adesanya outstrikes Strickland in this third round. Well enough to win this round. And even with the shot Strickland lands on Adesanya, I don't think it makes a case for Adesanya to win that third round. Makes a case that Strickland should win that third round. Then you go to the fourth round, and Strickland outstrikes Adesanya. Pretty clear. He's outstriking him pretty clear. At this point, it's 2-2. And then the last round, it's obvious. Strickland outstrikes Adesanya. You go to the judges' scorecards. And all three judges, Eric Colon, David Letheby, and Clemens Warner, all have it 49-46. They give the second round to Adesanya. Adesanya only gets the second round. They don't even give him the third round, which I think is wild. I won't give an honorable mention, but there's that. Yeah. And that's all. I guess sidebar, Laura Sanko was great tonight. She was great. Everyone was praising her. She was not, I mean, I like her commentary. There's some, sometimes it's weird and awkward here and there, but her commentary was nice. It was smooth. I just pray. I pray that she takes that she's more, we see her more frequently than Michael Bisping. That's all I hope for. And that we see John Gooden more than we see Brendan Fitzgerald. That's all I ask. I'm going to bed. Thank you all for listening. A beautiful end to the pay-per-view. And God bless.